Jessica, and this is Daebak K-Rambles, where a couple of friends review Korean dramas, except it's not two friends today, it's a trio of friends. That's right, it is a drama trio episode today. I am joined by Caitlin from No Sleep for Drama's blog and podcast, and Liliana from Tea Soju Podcast. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing okay. Oh, yeah. All good here.
Yeah.
Same.
We had a double header today. This is our second recording of the day. So we've been here pretty much the whole day recording with each other, and we haven't gotten sick of it yet. We are going to talk about The Trunk today. And I know that Liliana watched it late last year when it aired, and you actually, I think you did an episode on it.
I reviewed it. I did. I
purposely did not listen to your episode because I didn't want to be spoiled on what you thought about it.
Yeah.
So please forgive me. I will be going and listening to it after we wrap this recording. And
Same.
If I'm to understand, Caitlin, you're maybe 10 minutes removed from finishing this show.
Yeah, I basically knew we knew we were reviewing this late in January, so I was like, I'm just gonna wait until January to watch it. And then I ended up having to binge it in the last 2 days, including 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, nice. So before we get into the fun, if this is your first time listening, go ahead and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and many more. And if you like us, please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Come and check us out on social media to stay up to date on our latest episodes and reviews. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok as of now at Daebak Pod, DAEBAKPOD. And lastly, if you're a fan, please consider becoming a patron. It's a great way for you to get involved and show your support. You can check out the page on patreon.com/TaebakPod. And thank you, shout out to our patrons, Janet, Curtis, Bale, CD, Alana, Grace, Lorna, Sammy, Caitlin, Julia number 1, Michelle, Tenmei, Marta Delphia, Maria, Sarah, Julia number 2, and Pam. Thank you guys for being patrons. And thank you also to all the free patrons on there as well. All right. We're going to get into the non-spoiler section of The Trunk. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
Yes, I am.
Nice. The My Drama List synopsis reads, Inji works for a contract marriage provider in NM, arranging one-year marriages for clients. After completing her 4th contract, she meets Jung-won, a music producer, for her 5th. Jung-won, still haunted by the pain of his past and missing his ex-wife, So-yeon, starts his 2nd marriage with Inji. As they grow closer, a mysterious trunk is discovered in a lake, unraveling dark secrets behind the NM company. This show is adapted from the novel Trunk by Kim Ryo-ryung, which was first published in May 2015. It's about 10 years old. This show aired in its entirety November 29th, 2024. It's 8 episodes long. Directed by Kim Kyu-tae, a really prolific director. So he's directed Worlds Within, Iris, Padam Padam, That Winter the Wind Blows, It's Alright, This Is Love, which we know all about, Liliana, because you guessed it on that episode with me, reviewing it. He's also directed Moon Lover's Secret Heart Rio, which is a huge show from 2016, which is finally coming to Viki streaming pretty soon. Coming soon is the tag right now on that. And of course, there's an episode on the podcast feed for that show. This show is written by, or adapted by Park Eun-young. And I really didn't know who she was until I looked her up. And then I was like, oh, right. She's written Hwarang from 2016, Romance Full of Life, Housewife Detective, The Third Charm. And I have not done my best yet. It really made sense when I saw that she had written The Third Charm. Then I was like, oh, that makes total sense to me. The Trunk and The Third Charm, I don't know. It just made a lot of sense. That really took a lot of people by surprise, that show, and was tonally not what people were expecting. It's a little shocking. And yeah, is it a romance? I don't know. I don't know if you guys have any experience with Park Eun-young or the director's other work.
The director, I don't think so. For that director, apart from It's Okay Is it It's Okay That's Love? Is that the one he directed?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that's the only one I've actually watched out of that list from him.
Mm-hmm.
And for the writer, Hwarang, because I mean, pretty
Yep.
people.
Yep.
Let's not, yeah, enough said. I think that's the only two things I've watched out of those lists.
Mm-hmm.
For the director, definitely Moon Lovers. I've watched. I want to say Iris I did watch too. I can't remember if I've watched Padam Padam. I feel like I have, but I
Yeah, I
can't
dropped
remember.
it.
I have to remember what it even is too. But anyway, so I've watched a couple of the director. I have watched none of the writer, but I recognize the titles, obviously.
All right. This show stars Gong Yoo as Han Jung-wan. He is our male lead. Of course, he is a prolific Hallyu star in his 40s at this point and still looking damn fine. He's done about 15 or so movies. Yeah, everyone's smiling on this feed right now. Kim Ji-young, born 1982. He did that movie in 2019, Age of Shadows, 2016, Train to Busan, of course, 2016. A Man and a Woman from 2016. I feel like that goes hand in hand with this show. If you haven't seen A Man and a Woman, I highly recommend it. Of course, TV. He's most recently been in Squid Game Season 2, The Silent Sea from 2021, Goblin, of course. He's the Goblin, The Great and Lonely God, and Coffee Prince from 2007. Really not as many shows as you would expect when you look it up, but his co-star is Hyun-Jin. She plays No-In-ji. You might have seen her in Why Her, You Are My Spring, The Beauty Inside, Temperature of Love, Dr. Romantic, Another Miss O, and Let's Eat 2. So what is your experience with Hyun-Jin and Gong Yoo, you guys?
So, for Gong Yoo, we all know I didn't finish Goblin, and apart from that, nothing. I've seen his cameos in Squid Games 1, and that was it. I had not watched him in anything else, and I don't know why. He does, I suppose, for dramas, he's done a lot of older dramas, and I tend to not really go back to older dramas all the time. So yeah, I know, Goblin, but look, guys, we're not going to go down that road again. As for So Hyun-Jin, she's the complete opposite. I've actually watched her in a lot of things. I've watched her Another Miss O, Dr. Romantic, Temperature of Love, The Beauty Inside, You Are My Spring, and Why Her. And I really like her as an actress. I think her acting's fairly good, but also I think her projects, even if the drama isn't that great, I always tend to appreciate her character and her acting in it, if that makes sense. So I really like her. She's one of those actresses that I keep an eye out for, and if she's in something that I think I'll enjoy, I'll tend to check her out. Now, after watching The Trunk, I was like, okay, I get the Gong Yoo hype. Before it, I really didn't. I really didn't get the Gong Yoo hype. I was like, I know. But to be fair, I hadn't really watched him in a lot of things. And the only thing that I had partially watched was Goblin, and that wasn't necessarily him. To me, that's not a him problem. It's a story problem. So
Agree to disagree.
But after...
Agree to disagree.
All right. I can't help it. But apart from that, I get why everybody's so up for Gong Yoo now.
Okay. All right. Caitlin?
For Gong Yoo, I've pretty much seen everything. I've seen most of his movies. A lot of the movies that you listed I've watched, and I pretty much have seen every single drama he's done as well. For the most part. Ones. Even the bad ones, yes. For So Hyun-Jin, I kind of have bounced around. I have not seen a lot of her older dramas, except for Beauty Inside. But mostly I watched that because I love the movie so much.
Yeah.
The movie, in my opinion, is better.
Which is way different, I think, from the show.
Right. Yeah. But I've seen Beauty Inside, I've seen You Are My Spring, and I've seen Why Her. But a lot of her older dramas, I just have not. I did not watch. They also were airing in a time I didn't have access to Korean dramas, so I didn't really go back and watch them yet, I guess.
Okay, so between us, we are rounding out all of their careers. Right?
Yeah.
Both of their careers.
Pretty much.
Because I've seen a lot of Gong Yoo's movies. I've seen most of his K-dramas, even the bad ones like Big and Biscuit Teacher Star Candy and all of those. And then for Hyun-Jin, I've also seen Let's Eat 2, Another Miss O, Temperature of Love. And then I kind of dropped off and didn't really see myself watching Why Her, You Are My Spring, or The Beauty Inside. Mostly because The Beauty Inside, the movie is so great. I'm like, I don't really see the need to watch the show. And I see Caitlin nodding her head. I love both of these actors. And I think we can all agree that maybe not Liliana coming into the show loving Gong Yoo, but this is a really great leading couple. There's something to be said about, at least for Gong Yoo, he's very choosy with his projects. And he's at a stage in his career where he doesn't have to do anything at all. He just can subsist on the CFs, ads. He can sell products and be brand ambassador and just make his money that way rather than starring in a show or a movie. But that gives him the ability to be really choosy. Every project that he does, there is something that he finds very unique about it. Whether the project is successful or not, there's something that he saw in it, a message that he wants to convey that he believes in. And so I want you to think about that when we go into the discussion about the trunk, which I don't feel is going to be a particularly long discussion, mostly because I didn't take any notes, y'all. I don't think Caitlin took any notes either, but we'll see. What did you guys think of this show? I don't know who wants to go first, but
let Caitlin go first
All
because
right.
she's got a fresh mind.
Caitlin.
I loved this show.
Oh,
I think I liked it a lot more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
And ironically, I did not like the parts I thought I would like. I was expecting to like certain parts of this show because there was a lot of parts that I was like, oh, that's something up my alley. That's speaking my language. I'm definitely checking this out. In hindsight, though, I actually liked those parts less. I'm not giving anything away, obviously, right now. And I liked other parts more that I did not expect to like. So, I mean, it wasn't like a perfect drama for me, but it was definitely something unique in my opinion and kind of went against the grain of what I normally like and enjoy when I get to the other side of finishing a drama for me.
So it's kind of contradictory to what you thought you were going to like. And
Yes.
The things that kept you engaged were things that you didn't realize were going to keep
Correct.
you sitting.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Do you want to say what those things are? Or is that too spoilery?
It's too spoilery. I
Okay.
don't want to.
Okay. Liliana?
I ended up really enjoying this one. I have quibbles with it. There's a couple of things that I have a couple of, quibbles with it. But overall, I really, really enjoyed it. I almost feel like it's, how to explain it? It's almost like a combination of a Western show with a Korean show mixed together. And you kind of taken the best parts of both things and put it into this show. That's kind of like what I felt, and it kind of worked. And I didn't think they would make it work, but they did. Like I said, Gong Yoo in this was great. I understood why people enjoy him so much. Hyun-Jin was great in this. The pacing was fairly good. I think they did a really good job developing these characters and kind of growing them even for 8 episodes. And I was like, see, it can be done. It can be done in 8 episodes. You can give us a full arc story and, you know, with really good characters. So I think overall I really enjoyed it. I did have a couple of quibbles with it, but even saying that, I really liked it.
Yeah, I would agree with you both that I came into this thinking it was going to be a romantic thriller. That's what was sold in the trailer for it. That's what the marketing was selling. And I think the problem that I found, my quibbles have to do with the thriller part, because honestly, I didn't give a shit about the thriller. I think the best parts of this show happen very internally and happen with the romance aspect of these two very flawed individuals trying to work it out, trying to figure each other out, and this mini healing journey that they go on. I thought this show was super stylish. The cinematography was super moody. And I did say that, I think on my story when I finished watching it, was like, I didn't see much K-drama to this story, to the production of it. It felt very Western, and I could recast this whole show with Western actors and it would be the same show, which I think bothered people. I think that was irking a lot of watchers, that this was not a typical K-drama in any sense of the word. It was, like I said, very stylish. It was a very introspective drama. It's not average. It's not fast-paced. It is very evenly paced within the 8 episodes, but I wouldn't say that, you know, you have cliffhangers at the end of every episode and things driving you to watch the next episode. There were great depths of emotion and fear throughout the show. And it's about two traumatized and flawed and broken people inadvertently finding a measure of comfort in each other and the courage to heal and the courage to move forward instead of staying stagnant. And I would say the older you are, the more you'll get out of the show. I don't think that younger people will find much to latch onto in this show. I think this is for mature audiences only. There is a deep well of melancholia in this show. And this idea of like choking on your own memory, but thinking that that's actually what's keeping you going, that that's your oxygen tank versus what's holding you down and what's drowning you. And that is really nuanced and hard to understand if you haven't lived a lot of life. Sorry to say. It's about unhappy people. It's about codependency. It's a bit of a darker psychological drama. These characters are not going to be easy to pinpoint. They're not black and white. And this is a very soft and understated romance. There's a lot of soft and innocent parts to them, but there's also really dark and difficult aspects of them that are unlikable. And I think a lot of people were off-put by the sex scenes in this show. A lot of people had complaints about the characterizations. I mean, we can go into like the complaints, but my main complaint has to do with the police procedural and the mystery aspect of the show, which didn't work at all for me. That was not why I was watching the show.
Yeah, that's what I also disliked that part a lot, which it was unexpected. That was the unexpected part, is I was assuming I was going to like that part more than I did. And it wasn't even like my normal criticisms of like the tropiness of how bad cops are written sometimes in crime dramas or anything, but it was just, you could take all this out and it would still be a great drama. You could take all this out for the most part and it would still be fine. It would still, like, this doesn't add anything to it at all. And not even the purpose of why it was in there in the first place really even added to the drama, in my opinion. So that was the unexpected part for me, is I thought I would like that part better than I did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you're so into crime, and that's your bread and butter, and you're like our expert in that genre.
Yeah.
Crime
but
and
I think
thriller.
also the reason why is even if you did take those parts out, there was enough thriller aspects to this that probably would have still sustained me without, because it was like a character thriller
Exactly.
than a plot thriller. And you can have thriller elements to a drama without it having to do with murder or anything like that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that it was much more of a character study than people were expecting. I read this, I can't remember if it was a review or a summary, but I think it was a review in Teen Vogue. And this sentence like really brought it together for me. They said, adding a twist to the contract marriage trope, the trunk tackles the plot device from a film noir perspective. And I was like, that's what people didn't like. That's what it is. It's a film noir. People aren't used to seeing noir in K-drama.
I think it was a little bit too real for people almost, because it's like, it's very flawed characters, isn't it? You can almost argue that they are a little bit dislikable for the most of it part of the drama. And I think people don't like that. I think people were expecting, you know, a cohabitation fake marriage trope. You know, they were going to fall in love and everything that comes with it. And I actually prefer it much better the way it was done, because like you said, there is a lot of nuances to it, and there is a lot of grown up stuff to it. I would rather have a character growth and a character arc than, you know, have a stagnant character for the whole drama, so to speak. And I think the way these two actors worked together and worked to show their characters really, really worked for me. So yeah, I like both of you. I wasn't keen on the thriller aspect of it, the police work aspect of it. I just didn't think it was necessary. Like you said, it didn't add to the drama, and you could have taken that whole aspect, and actually I feel like the drama could be even better without it, because it doesn't add to the plot. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, on the opposite end too, I also saw comments that people, and I won't spoil it, we can do it later, but like people also didn't like the ending, because some opinions I saw, right, like some opinions I saw were either they didn't get the ending they were expecting from what they got from the rest of the show, and it seemed like a cop-out because they didn't know how to end it, or along those same lines, like the ending didn't fit the rest of the story and what people assumes the ending would be. And like, because as Jess was saying, this isn't the typical K-drama. It doesn't fit into the norm of a K-drama, and people were like, well, the ending does. The ending is a classic K-drama ending, which is why I don't like it, because it doesn't fit the rest of the show. That's kind of the opinions I've heard on the ending.
Okay.
Other people I know loved it too, but like that's just some commentary. I mean, granted, again, I finished this 10 minutes ago, so it was like, this is like 2 seconds of Google search on an ending, because I was really trying to remind myself of something I noticed in the end, which I'll reveal in the spoiler thing. But
yeah, the online complaints ranged. They just ranged, and I think the complaints were not quite specific enough for me to think the writing was particularly bad. I think our quibbles are going to be all the same, but they're going to be specific, right? But the online things that I was seeing was like, oh, Gong Yoo finally acting with someone in his age group. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Bitching about age gaps again. Someone else, again, people who haven't watched Gong Yoo in other things likely his movies where he is butt naked with people. Someone said, I didn't know Grandpa had it in him.
Oh, God.
Which is like
one of the best kissers
40.
in the game, people.
He's 40. What do you mean?
You
and he's a
wish
fine
you looked that good at
man
40.
For 40.
Yeah. You
Oh.
wish you looked like that at 40.
I
Also,
was
one of the best.
livid.
Yeah.
Livid.
Look, even before I watched this and was like, I actually do appreciate his work and I really liked this role, I have eyes. I can look at him and be like, he's a fine man. What do you mean? I don't understand, people. I don't understand.
So someone else said, that one really sent me. I had to like take a break from social media after I read that one, that I didn't know Grandpa had it in him, because put some fucking respect on Gong Yoo's name. First, second, and third. Okay. The other thing that I read was thinly developed characters.
Now
I see confusion running through here.
I do not agree with that statement.
I 100% disagree with that statement. Were we watching the same show here?
Yeah.
Like, that is one of the best things about this show is the character development. Right. What do you mean?
Now, there were some things I will say. There's some things I wish they had developed more, which we can get into, but I wouldn't say it's like thinly developed, or not even like, not one of these characters are thinly developed. Like, it's not like Gong Yoo's character is like has a whole backstory and everybody else is just like right here on the same plane or whatever. I don't.
They said nobody had a clear want, nobody had a clear why.
Again, vastly disagree with that statement.
Disagree. I mean, did this person watch this show?
Someone else, I won't say who it is. Someone said, one of the worst K-dramas I've ever seen in my life.
She could, whoever it is, clearly did watch the. I was gonna throw back at Jess and say, clearly they haven't watched the. I was gonna say, clearly they haven't watched The Bride of Habeck.
Bride of Habeck. Oh. And then the last thing that I had is not a dark quote, I paraphrase, that the romance was overshadowed by their exes and their past traumas. I would say that is what made the romance and the progression of their courtship, if you can even call it that, was their exes.
I'm sorry.
And their past traumas. Like, that was the thing of it.
If you wanted the ending that they gave at the end, you needed to get through that first. Like, they needed to come to terms with their trauma or like figure out the secrets that were going to be revealed in this plot in order to get to the ending that was the ending.
Okay.
I think these people were just going into this thinking it was going to be a romance. I really think people just like
a straightforward romance.
Yeah, like what everybody seems to do is like they go into a drama. Right. Where did they get that idea? But like
the trailers and the posters did not give romance. Like, for once, actually, for once, I will stand up and be like, look, it didn't give that vibe to me. It did not give me like full out romance vibe with what they were putting out. So I don't know what they were talking. I don't know.
We all know there's people out there who just click play and be like, it's a romance. It's going to be a romance. And then they get mad when there's no romance. Like, I see that countless times in crime
But there
drama.
was romance in this.
I know, but like rom-com. When I say romance, they want straight up rom-com, no darkness romance.
Yeah.
All the time.
I
think that's what people wanted it. And I would agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you, Liliana. This trailer and these posters did not give that whatsoever. And maybe people didn't watch the trailer. Maybe there are people who don't watch trailers.
Fine, you don't watch the trailer, but you start at the beginning of episode 1 and there's literally a dead body in a shot. What do you expect you're gonna get? Like,
I can't believe we're on the same page about this. I thought one person would be on the defense or on the offense here, but like, we're all on the same page. I want to reiterate to listeners, we did not discuss at all the trunk for the last 2 months.
We
have not discussed the trunk. We did not talk about it. Caitlin just finished it. So it's incredible that we're all coming at this and we have very similar thoughts. Again, if you've listened to Drama Trio, we have very different tastes in dramas sometimes. And I'm just glad we're here. I'm so glad we're here to talk about this because this, as you can see, was a very divisive show. Mixed bag. I wanted to talk really fast about the book because a few people in our circle did buy the book and read the translation of it. And one of those people was Naz from the Swoon Diaries podcast. Mm-hmm. And she posted about it. And I did talk to her about it. And Naz hated the book. She thought it was awful. This is a quote from her story, her Instagram story in December of 2024. She said, "It's completely different from the show. I now understand why the show had to take so many liberties because absolutely nothing happened in this book. I'm truly baffled." So, if you'd like to talk to somebody who did read the book and saw the show, definitely reach out to Naz from Swoon Diaries Pod. I'm sure she's more than willing to talk about this show and the differences between the source material and the show. We're not going to be talking about the differences. What I want to point out mostly is that the book seems to be also divisive and a lot of liberties were taken, right? What we got in the show is loosely based on what the book had going in it, if that makes any sense. We got a different thing than the book. With that being said, we're going to spoil the trunk, get into more specifics about it right after this.
Excuse me, 뭐라고?
괜찮아.
You know, I have no signal. Oh, sorry.
Swear, discoursing shit.
What?
All right, we're on the other side of spoilers. During the break, we were talking at length about how insulting people were to Gong Yoo and how they just don't understand age and how time works. And it was just so rude of them to say that about Gong Yoo.
Well, I think also, too, I mean, you said it earlier, Gong Yoo is very picky about his dramas. So there's years he doesn't have a drama come out, and as you've said, people don't watch movies. Like he's a movie actor. So I think a lot of people, due to K-dramas becoming more popular over the last 5 years or so, there weren't a lot of dramas with people of actors and actresses of a certain age. Mm-hmm. Coming out, becoming popular. I think we've seen a resurgence of that, but like a lot of these older actors and actresses were famous in quotes. Like I think they're still famous, but like their heyday was when they're younger, and a lot of these newer watchers have not gone back and watched those and seen these actors and actresses when they were in their 20s and 30s. Mm-hmm. And so I think there comes they kind of avoid them now because they are older. They're like, I'm not going to like that type of drama because the actors are all older too. I think I think it's a combination of a bunch of stuff, but I think part of it is the type of actor or type of watchers that are watching them nowadays, with what the dramas have been coming out in the last 5 years or so.
I totally agree.
Because even with like Squid Game season 1, Gong Yoo had a very small role.
Oh yeah, it's stunt casting.
I hear in like season 2 it's a little bigger role. I haven't seen season 2 yet, but like I've heard it's a bigger role.
Definitely
and he did get recognition. He did get recognition more for season 2. I saw a lot more people talking about him. Mm-hmm. Per season 2 versus season 1.
All right, so we're going to get into the trunk and we're going to settle down into a little rhythm here. We're going to talk about it. Caitlin, did you have anything you wanted to start us off with since you are the freshest on this?
Yeah, I'll start off with something a little comedic because it's going to be really quick, but I was not expecting the cameo right out of the gate in episode 1 of Jung Kyung-ho. I was not expecting it whatsoever, and then they all of a sudden came out with that. And then I want to say...
Wait, there was also a second cameo, which you wouldn't know it unless you looked up the cast list. But the other husband that was on his deathbed and he was thanking her, all hooked up to the machines and stuff, that was
Right.
also somebody. That was the male lead from The Greatest Love. You know that guy?
Oh, yes. I don't remember his name, but I do I do know who you're talking about.
Oh my
Yes.
god. Hold on. Cha Sung-won. Cha
Yes.
Sung-won,
Yes,
who
yes,
is
yes.
also a star of Yesteryear, who
Right.
audiences would recognize in Korea, but he's all covered up and you would only know it if you looked at the credits. But yeah,
Right.
2 cameos. All right. So the only notes that I have are that the female lead shows up at his house with her trunk, her own emotional baggage, so to speak, and she immediately strips down naked and takes a shower in his shower, which is really shocking and weird. I thought that was very invasive. I don't know if you guys had any thoughts about her method and how she just sort of walks around and inspects the house and opens all the closets and sees the other trunk in his closet. And you can tell that she's just rifling through his life and inserting herself. And you can see that she is working him out, figuring him out. And also, it's figurative, right? Like she's also doing that literally, but she's doing that figuratively in his life. And this is a little violating.
I think to me that scene was almost like, yes, it was invasive, but it's almost like her shedding her outside clothes and kind of almost stepping into the character of his wife, if that makes sense.
That's what that's what I was gonna say too.
She's like going in, assessing the situation, so to speak, so she
I love
can
that word.
step into the role of wife. She's like almost evaluating, what does this role require of me? What is he gonna require of me, so to speak? So I think that was a really in your face way of doing it almost, but I liked how it was done, because if you are watching this and you aren't watching it with, you know, I don't know, a deeper look or whatever, it can just look like she's getting there and getting very comfortable and going for a shower. But it's so much more than that, I think. And this show is actually really good at doing this sort of stuff where on the surface it seems like something, but if you dig, it's got a lot of more baggage for you to unpack. And I really like that aspect of it.
So compare that with the other wife, the ex-wife, who I have in my notes, she is an emotional terrorist.
She needs therapy.
Yeah.
The woman needs some serious therapy.
That's basically all I have for her, is that she's an emotional terrorist.
I think some people almost commented that she's like a sociopath or something, because everything needs to be her control and everything needs to be for her and whatnot. And she is actually one of my quibbles with this show. Her character.
Oh yeah, go for
is
it.
one of my quibbles. So it's not necessarily throughout the show, because I actually really enjoyed seeing Gong Yoo's character like break away from her, and it starts happening very quickly, because I think it's like episode 2 or something, or episode 2 or 3. It's like the smallest detail, but our female lead, she hurts herself and he takes her to the hospital. And Gong Yoo gets a call from his ex-wife and he's like, I'm really sorry, I can't talk right now. And he puts the phone down. And it's like, it's the smallest thing, but it's something that before, you know, Inji came in, he wouldn't have done that. So I actually really liked having such a horrible character, in a sense, as the ex-wife, because watching him break away from that was really satisfying for me. But my quibble is her ending. I didn't like it. I didn't like how her character was just like, yeah, I know I'm bad and I'm dealing, like, I'm gonna be that way and I'm dealing with it. And it's kind of like, wait, yeah, I needed a little bit more from that.
I saw that complaint too, just from a couple of people, that she didn't to serve her redemptive arc.
See, I didn't really see it as a redemptive arc.
Oh,
Exactly. I
okay.
don't think she even got one
Yeah.
that much.
I mean, I think like when she got rejected and knew she couldn't get back with Gong Yoo, she tried to get back with the other dude and he ended it too. And then at the very end, she was like, I'm going to help this dude through his trial and get him a lawyer and then we'll see what happens. Like I don't think she learned anything. I think she wanted the other guy because she can control him again. He has to do whatever she wanted to do because of the contract. So I didn't see her having a redemptive arc whatsoever.
Yeah, I think because there were very few consequences for her, people
Right.
thought, oh, redemptive arc.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't think what she got was nobody under her thumb, nobody was within her grasp or control, and that is torture for a narcissist.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think she got a very sliver of punishment there, where she basically pushed everyone away due to her own antics, and now she has nobody left to control.
Mhm.
She's just grasping at straws and trying to help this guy with his murder trial, but you know, it is what it is. I had someone question me about the baby and the chain of events of the baby.
Yeah.
So I didn't really think it through. I mean, I did think it through, but I didn't really put a lot of thought into it, if that makes any sense. She obviously, her and Gong Yoo were going to have a child. She was pregnant. I think she was somehow in her last trimester or something like that. And there was a cutaway scene of her on the toilet struggling. I thought she was having a miscarriage.
So what I didn't get that from the story.
Okay.
What I thought was because she gets run over while she's pregnant.
Oh no, she
and
doesn't get run over.
She steps. Yeah,
steps
sorry,
in
she
front of the car.
steps. She steps, and I think that would have been actually something that I would like them to explore a little bit in her character, because they do talk about depression and whether she does that for attention or not, or whether she's depressed in that moment because she's losing everything and she doesn't want to be a mom, and she's now figuring out that she's gonna have this baby.
Yeah, that was something that I wanted to pick at more, definitely, was her psyche there, and how was it because she was afraid of losing her power and identity as a woman in her control over Gong Yoo, who really did want to be a father and was happy that she was pregnant and was looking forward to the baby. And she was like, I've never wanted to be a mother. I've never thought about this. I hate being pregnant, so on and so forth. I truly think she was having a miscarriage. And then she was already kind of hating the idea of having a baby. And then she just hastened it along, stepped in front of the car to, I think, just kill herself. Because, she was deeply unhappy. It could have been, I don't know, hormones, pregnancy does weird things to women. I'm just saying.
It does.
It does. Sorry, it does. And she survives, but there's that dilemma where they ask the father, Gong Yoo, what do you want to do? Save her or save the baby? We can only save one. And he says, save the baby. Whatever you do, save the baby. She overhears this, and it does horrible things to her mind and heart.
Actually, that whole segment is a very interesting segment, because who do you save in a situation like that? There's couples that would argue, save the mother. We can try for another baby. There's stuff like that. There's couples that would argue, save the baby, but then you're not only a widowed father, but you're also having to raise a newborn by yourself with, no experience. And I think that was a really interesting point, that we can understand where Gong Yoo's character is coming from, but for a character like his ex-wife, for somebody else that isn't even born to be chosen over her from, the husband that she thought was under her thumb completely, that must have stung like nobody's business.
I think it broke
that
her.
must have broke her
I think it
because
broke
she was
her.
already she was already unwell, and then that on top of it for something that was so unwanted from her, that would have broken her, I think.
Now, I don't know the laws or anything in Korea about, should they just have asked the mother if she's lucid and she's there, just ask her. She's the steward of her own healthcare. Do you want us to save the baby or not? I'm not sure if the husband would be the one to make that decision. I don't know. That seems like a K-drama-ism. But barring that, yeah, that is a conundrum that nobody wants to answer. And the movie and the book are both touted as being feminist. With that label in mind, how do you feel about her character?
The ex-wife.
Yeah.
I kind of like, there's one specific scene that I'm thinking about, and you guys will know straight away what scene it is, that had a lot of people up in arms, and it's the scene where her current husband is showering, and she comes in and kind of like is oogling him and whatnot, and a lot of people had a lot of trouble with that scene specifically.
Really?
Because they thought it was done in poor taste and, it wasn't necessary. But I'm like, do you know what? That kind of like is woman forward, so to speak. I don't understand why it was such badly received. Because I'm like, why can't a woman do that? Why? If it was a man in that situation, you probably wouldn't have argued so much. Like, why are we standing on here and saying, oh, that was done in poor? No, it wasn't. She was looking at a fine man. What do you expect? Who is supposedly her husband
at this point in time? Yeah.
That she's, having lots of sex with? Like, what do you expect?
Yes.
But I think it also played into her character. It wasn't just a woman. It wasn't just a woman looking at a nice looking man. It was a power play. It was her being like, I have a contract with you. You have to do whatever I say.
Yeah.
And so that means you can't come over here. You can't touch me, but I can look at you all I want. And I mean, I think that fit her character to a T. Like it would definitely be something her character would do.
Yeah. The sex scenes, as well as the denial of sex, is all part of her character, and I feel like it's very feminist, if that makes any sense. Like, yeah, why not? Why not? Why can't you say no?
It's her body.
It's her, yeah.
Like, enough said. It's her body. So
why can't she say no, and why can't she do it? On the couch if she wants.
And the thing is, they are in a contract literally a contract relationship. And it stipulates that she can do whatever the heck she wants. Mm-hmm. So she's paying for it. So
yeah. So there's a couple of things. This leads into a couple of questions, which is, 1, thoughts on the sex scenes. 2, was it gratuitous? Which the overwhelming sense that I got online was, yes, people thought that all the sex scenes, especially with her, were gratuitous. The X. And does it perpetuate the idea that all people with sexual desire are evil because she is so unhinged?
Okay, so again, I watched this after it aired, after everybody had been talking about it, right? Mm-hmm. So the way that people reacted about these sex scenes, I thought it was a completely different person having sex scenes. I didn't understand. Because like the ones that I read did not name a character in name. They just were like, the sex scenes are over the top or whatever.
Right.
So I was assuming it was the leads. I was assuming it was Gong Yoo and his relationship.
Right.
So I was very surprised when it was actually her. And again, I think it fit her character really well. Like, I didn't think it was over the top. I think it was very much along with what her character was. I mean, she knew she had this IUD in her. She did not want to get pregnant again. She was like, I'm paying for this dude to be my husband, this nice, younger, very fit, good-looking guy. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to control him and have a good time and use him. And she definitely used him because I think there came a point in her relationship with him where she was not satisfied by what she was trying to get out of her ex-husband. So she went and had sex with him to have some sort of control in her life. Because if she didn't have her current husband, her life would fall apart. I did not think it was over the top. I did not think it was like came out of nowhere. Like, yeah, it was a little surprising because it's like you walk in and you think it's a K-drama and then they have that. But it's not like I was expecting. I also was expecting, with given people's reactions, that it wouldn't be the woman that was having a full frontal scene. I assumed it was the men, which you normally don't even see in American television most of the time.
Right.
So I assumed I was fully expecting to see male genitalia in this show, and I didn't see anything. Like, when she went into the locker room to look at her husband, I was like, oh, okay, this is the scene that
Here
we're
it
going to see
is.
the male genitalia. No, not at all. So, no, I disagreed with most of what people said. Also, their reaction, I assumed there was going to be a lot more sex scenes.
Yeah, there wasn't that many.
Because there's really one.
There really
there's like
wasn't.
one sex scene.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I thought the same thing. I've honestly,
yeah.
personally, I just kind of went, I don't know, maybe I'm just desensitized, or maybe I just thought it was fitting. When they cut to it, I didn't even blink. I didn't even bat an eye. I was like, this fits. And we kept going. Then it was the next couple of nights that I looked online and I was like, oh shit, people have not seen ass before. People don't know how to act. And it was incredible, the viral videos that were being shared about this stupid ass sex scene that I thought was nothing to write home about. I don't know. Again, maybe this show benefits from an older audience and the youngins just haven't been here long enough to see some of this in a K-drama, or just, I mean, I was shocked. I was shocked that people were clutching pearls over this.
It was, to me, like you both said, it fitted her character. It's just a woman taking her pleasure how she wants it. I mean, and it fits with her character and her control. And also, it kind of adds another layer to, because then later on we do have a sex scene between, our main couple, and you can kind of see the differences of, what they're building and the type of relationships in those
Right.
scenes. And,
Right.
you can directly compare them and say, this is, what a healthier at that point. It's not quite healthy yet, but you know what I mean.
They're working on
They
it.
care for each other. They're working on it situation, as directly opposed to the ex-wife that feels like she's using her current husband for her needs and to fulfill whatever black hole she has in her soul, so to speak. So it didn't bother me. It didn't. I
Didn't
don't
bother
think
me in
it
the
bothered
slightest.
me.
Yeah, I thought people were going to talk more about the fact that this show has a weird neutral perspective on sex work, because these contract marriages
Absolutely.
are low-key sex work. And I was
Right.
like, oh, they're prostituting themselves in this marriage, in the context of this
Right.
marriage. And just slapping the label marriage on it, make it better, make it all okay? Or, what is it condemning it? Is it celebrating it? No, the show is very neutral on it. So I thought people were going to talk about that more than, hey, they're bumping and grinding. fuck yeah, they are. Like, that's the whole thing.
Also-
Let's move past it.
But also, I wonder if they could have just said no, if that makes sense. Because that would make the difference. Because this freaking manual that everybody and their mother keeps mentioning never shows up. So we don't know what the rules are for these freaking marriages, right? Because Inji does say, I think they do have a conversation, and our main couple, and they do have a conversation about, you know, sex and whatnot. And I think she says, if we're both wanting it, or something along those lines. Guys, I watched this a good few months
basically
ago.
that's basically what she did say. And it was the same with like if they ever wanted a divorce, they both would need to say, yes, I want this divorce. So yes, you are correct.
There is this conversation about consent, because if she feels uncomfortable or she doesn't want to, they won't. They don't.
So I think for the ex-wife, it's a little bit different because the guy, for some reason, goodness knows
he's into
why,
her. He wants to jump her bones.
He's into her. So I think that's why the thought of almost prostitution didn't even cross my mind in a way, because there was kind of like, for our main couple, there was a clear conversation had about it, and there was consent and whatnot. I'm not saying that in prostitution there isn't consent, but you know what I mean. Like, but with the ex-wife as well, the man wanted to jump her bones, like you said. So
right.
They were all just consenting adults. What do you want? There was, I don't know what else to say.
I think the other thing a lot of people had problems with, though, which I also liked, like one of the things that we said. Well, I am switching gears in this, Jess, so it's not
No, it's okay. I'm listening to what you're saying.
I'm not going to be talking about the sex scenes anymore. I mean, might be. But, like, in the end of the year episode with Liliana, I said I wanted more dramas with gray characters. With morally gray, not black and white, that thing. I got the feeling a lot of people were not expecting everybody to be flawed in this. And I loved that part of this drama. Is just like everybody had trauma. Everybody was flawed. Everybody had stuff that they were trying to work through. Whether they did by the end or not, that's a different story. But like, I loved that part. And I don't think people were expecting that at all.
Yeah. For Gong Yoo, I think people definitely had to rethink his character when you find out that he was like, yeah, kill my wife.
Right.
Save the baby.
Yeah. But I actually did not think that was, there was a horrible situation to put him in. I would never want to be in that situation, but let alone watching your own wife step in front of a car to get away from that situation.
He saw her do it.
I can't even imagine. So, like, on one hand, I sort of could understand that answer because he was probably pissed at her. He probably was like, I'm so happy that you're pregnant. I'm going to have this baby. I've always wanted to be a father.
Always wanted a family.
Be the opposite of what my family life was. And you literally took that from me by your own selfish. And granted, they didn't communicate and he didn't know how horribly sad she was and whatever. But like, I can't really 100% blame him for him saying that either, because that's got to be trauma within himself, within itself, to see your wife intentionally walk out in the middle of the street to kill yourself and your baby.
You also have to rethink Gong Yoo when he's still living in the house.
Yes, that too.
The entire fact that he's still in that house, no matter the fact that the ex-wife completely redid the house, remodeled it, whatever, he's still living in that house where so much shit went down with his father, with his mother, and I would be the first one to sell the shit out of that house and get the fuck out of Dodge.
He's choosing to stay in that trauma.
He's choosing to stay there. Stay in that trauma. Wallow in there and not move on. And there's something very childish about Gong Yoo and even about his profession, that he doesn't even have like a grown-up profession. He just like goes to work whenever he feels like it, and he's this vague music producer. We never really see who he's producing, and he doesn't have any issues with money. He doesn't even care about money, while his business partner in the music production business is struggling financially. Over and over, we see that he's like, we're about to go under. He's telling his wife, we can't do this, we can't do that. He's constantly thinking about financial troubles, and Gong Yoo in his own fucking world. So Gong Yoo is so removed he's so insulated in this trauma house of his. And you have to think, he's fucked in the head. He needs therapy just like everybody else. No matter
Every
how...
single character.
Everybody needs therapy. But Gong Yoo has a lot to work through in this show, this character. And what's her face too? Inji, the female lead. Oh my God. Boy, does she have stuff she has to work through as well. I feel like we haven't touched on her and her backstory, but anything that happened with her mom, I don't really quite understand. I wish we saw more of what happened there and the fallout with her and her mom. And then living in her own trauma house. A lot of like pot calling the kettle black here, because she is living, when she's not on a job and in a marriage, she's living in her own trauma house, keeping this apartment that her ex-fiance abandoned and ghosted her, keeping it just as he left it, everything in place. The neighbor keeps putting fish back in the fish tank when they die. Like, it is a pristine shrine to this dude. And this whole thing of he's gay and had this, I think, was it like an orgy video that came out just before their wedding? I don't even fucking know. It was this whole thing, this whole stank.
He was bisexual. Like,
Oh, was it he was
they
bisexual?
came at bisexual, yeah. Basically what happened was the stalker guy found out she was marrying him.
We have to talk about stalker as well.
He revealed the photos to her mother. Her mother put it all online.
Yes.
Which caused him to be outed, basically, to everybody in Korea. And he up and left. And left Inji to deal with the fallout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Like, that's a lot to be living through and grieving, because you can see that she is grieving that relationship. And she really hasn't stopped grieving all these years. There is no closure for her.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Mm-hmm.
There's never been any closure for her until he comes back and they have that final conversation. I think that's when she shuts the door on that relationship, I think.
Yeah. So them two, there's so much going on there. Of course, the ex-wife who is emotionally manhandling Gong Yoo, who has this codependency on her. He has relied on her his whole life, and she has manipulated him literally his whole life. I think they were childhood sweethearts.
At least college sweethearts.
Yeah.
Maybe not childhood, but college at least.
It's just a really bizarre relationship. I think that he basically latched onto whoever was near, and she was nearby, and relished, the power that she had over him, and that turned into a really toxic marriage. She never wanted to be a family, and that's what Gong Yoo wanted and needed, and she really imploded that one.
The thing is, I was just going to say, on Gong Yoo's character, it would have been actually interesting, because he said he so wanted to be a dad, but I don't think he could have been a dad at that point. And there's like a much deeper conversation about that, because he's not mentally stable.
No.
No.
Not at all.
No.
And to bring a child into that environment, it would have been catastrophic, I think. And he doesn't see that, because obviously if you're in it, you won't be able to see it. And I think that's the type of nuances that you get in this show, that as an outsider, as somebody watching the show, will be able to pick up on it. And some people may watch it and be like, but I can see it. Like, why? But obviously the characters are in it. They will not have that outside perspective that we are getting. So I think a lot of people might have forgotten that when they were watching this show for a bit.
Yeah. And I mean, even if he was in the good mindset to have a child and be a father, the wife definitely was not. So like it would have destroyed their marriage anyway.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they were both selfish in their own way. I know he was not thinking of his wife at all during those 9-10 months that she was pregnant. He was like, I need this child. I'm going to be the father. And then she didn't want the child. She probably would have just shunned the child and
I think she was jealous of it.
Yeah, definitely jealous of it, and definitely did not like the fact that he was happy for the child and not necessarily happy when he was around her at all.
That the source of his happiness was this child.
Yeah.
Instead of her. Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. Like even the situation she had when she almost had to have a hysterectomy.
Oh yeah.
And she was sad that she hadn't gotten to that point, that they saved her uterus and saved everything. And she was like, it would have been so much easier if I had gotten this hysterectomy. Like, because she did not want to get pregnant again. Absolutely did not want to get pregnant again. Mm-hmm. That was very telling of her character.
For sure. She should have just had it. Go on hormones the rest of her life. So let's talk about the stalker. You mentioned the stalker. I think this is a blight on the show. I do not care for the stalker. The stalker is pretty vague. We do not have a lot of info on the stalker. Utterly useless of a character. I have here in my notes, stalker took an unhealthy obsession with her after she took a cooking class once. Do I have that right?
Yeah. Yeah. At first, I thought he was an ex-husband of hers, like one of the people that she had marriages with. But no, it was just a random guy, which, I mean, to its credit, that's mostly how that happened. Like, not mostly, but that is a common thing, that you just randomly walk past somebody and all of a sudden it's a stalker, or you take one class of theirs and all of a sudden it's a stalker, whatever. But yeah, he wasn't even like a main character in her life. It was just a random passing in a class that she took.
Didn't he actually used to work for the company she worked at as some type of security person? If I'm
that was the husband of the ex-wife.
Yeah, but I think he was also, because I know we had this question on the Tea, and so when we did it, maybe I'm misremembering. I'll have to listen back. But either somebody messaged me this or afterwards, because I had the same question about how they had met, and I think somebody had said
it's a cooking class. She took a cooking class.
But he also worked at the same company and that's where they saw each other for the first time, was at this company.
Tiebreaker?
I don't think he ever worked for the company.
Yeah, I don't think he ever worked for the company.
I think he was just a passerby who became obsessed with her and then followed her everywhere and disrupted her and got into the company and tried to, I don't know, whatever he wanted to do in that lobby of that company when he killed the security guard.
Now, this is a very real fear for women, is that you just get a stalker and it escalates and escalates. There's really nothing that the police can do. They won't take it seriously. They haven't done anything to you. They're just making you feel uncomfortable. And it becomes a problem when the woman loses her life.
So Liliana, you are correct, but he didn't work for the company. So apparently Google, I don't remember this. I thought it was a cooking class or something. Apparently the company hired him to be a self-defense instructor.
What?
For the girls, for the men or the wives or whatever. and he essentially became obsessed with her through those self-defense classes. So we're technically both right. Yes, he was employed by the company, but it was a self-defense contractor class. So they did meet in a class. And ironically, he was hired by the company.
else.
I thought it was a cooking class that she
Because
took one time.
because then when they talk about it with like her CEO, the CEO said it would look bad on the company if we had hired somebody who'd done this. So we took care of it by sending him to a psych ward quietly instead. So that's why I thought I remembered something along the lines that he had done something for the company.
Well, no, it would look bad on the company because he entered the premises, killed an employee of the company, was stalking an employee of the company, who was the female lead. And then if they went to the police would be like, oh, okay, so asking a bunch of questions. What do you do? What does this company do? What day did he come by? Yada, yada. And this whole subdivision of this company is under the table. This is illegal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
These contract marriages are illegal. So that's why they're like, we can't let this get out. We have to handle this quietly.
Right.
We can't.
But yeah,
go to the
you guys
police.
are both right. We're both right, essentially. Is yes, he did work for the company, but not in the capacity that we assumed he would be working for the company.
Okay. Well, I did appreciate that one-on-one he had with the ex-wife when he mocked her and imitated her.
Mhm.
Ooh, that was juicy. That was great.
I think the actor who played him was phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
I had never seen him in a drama before.
Mhm.
I didn't remember him from a drama before.
Yeah. But I would say this storyline is a horror story in real life. So many stories of stalkers very much like this, and it just escalates and it always ends really badly. When Gong Yoo invites him into the house, I was like, oh,
I was like, what the hell are you
what
doing?
the fuck?
Yeah, that was a wild choice on his part. I was like, what are you doing? You are
Mm.
literally bringing her stalker into her inner sanctum. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Also, by the way, the actor who played her contract marriage husband, the actor who played the husband, the contract husband, this is his first acting role.
Oh, for the ex-wife.
For the ex-wife, yes.
Okay.
This is
Gotcha.
his first acting role.
Oh,
my
Ever.
God.
Apparently, he was on a dating show, like a reality dating show.
Yeah, he fine. But yeah, so Gong Yoo again, that character just allowing the stalker into the house and being like, "Pretty please stop stalking my wife." Yeah. Where's the shotgun? Like, get off my property. That I don't understand
Right.
that at all. It was a very childish move. Again, so sheltered and no street smarts at all from Gong Yoo's character. Doesn't understand the threat to his wife, Inji, at all. Oh God, I just didn't understand the stalker and how that was the tension of the show that I couldn't get behind.
I agree. Yeah, it wasn't needed, and
Wasn't
I think
needed. They could have gone the route of beefing up NM Corporation to be more
Right.
sinister.
That's what I wanted them to do. I wanted to know more about the company. I mean, you could do like multiple seasons of this show with different couples and different things. Like, there's a lot you could do with that. Like,
You could
there's
do
a
multiple
whole-
seasons.
There's like a whole universe you could do with this company
Very true.
of like different characters, different stories, how they started it in the first place. Like, the director is very mysterious in general of like, why did she start this company in the first place?
Yeah.
When she had that one liner in like the last episode of, oh, in my marriage in the first 2 or 3 years, I wanted to kill him too. I was like, okay, well, did you end up killing him? Like, what's going on there?
Prequel.
But yeah, I think it was like, as you said, Jess, I think it was there to add tension, but there was so much tension with the ex-wife and how crazy she was, and even the tension with her contract husband herself.
Mm.
Like, One of my favorite scenes is when they were all together having that dinner.
Yeah.
And there was so much tension between the four of them trying to size each other up and like figure out what was going on. That is what was enjoyable about this drama.
Yeah.
And yeah, the stalker murder part wasn't really needed.
Not at all. Talking of scenes that I really liked, the kiss scene between our couple. Gong Yoo is one of the best kissers, bar none. And the scene where his father dies and he has to attend the funeral, presumably by himself, and the ex-wife shows up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have like literally the quote from that scene because I love this so
Please.
much. Let me find it. Let me go through it. Caitlin, you go ahead and sit like episode 5. Oh, basically she comes back. So basically they have this interaction between our female lead and the ex-wife in the bathroom where she's like, I'm going to take over now. I was going to swear, but basically go away.
You can swear. It's fine.
And then she comes back and she sits down next to our male lead and she says to him, Miss Seon is gone. I'll accompany you now. And he says to her, what about the manual? And she says, I think I'll take today off. Because basically what they had said about that, then she gives him like her hand and holds his hand for comfort and whatnot. What she had say was it isn't in the manual or something along those lines for her not attending the funeral and playing his wife. So that's what she says in that scene. But even like just a conversation between those two is just like so simple. All she says is, I'll accompany you now. Like the other one's gone. I'm here now. I'll support you. And she just gives him his hand, like her hand for comfort. And it's such a direct comparison to his ex-wife when she was standing there and being like poking at him and like dragging him and whatnot.
And performative.
Exactly. And our female lead comes in and she doesn't even care for the people that are around. She is like solely focused on him. So yeah, I really like that scene as well.
Wonderful scene. The scene, so their face-off in the bathroom is great. And also their face-off in like the construction site.
Oh, yeah.
They start like throwing hands. Oh, love that part. Love that part. And any interaction between them is so biting. I love it. The scene of, I think it's the scene where Inji finds the camera. She has this whole, like, she says to the ex-wife, don't you know his father put a camera in that chandelier to spy on his mom and you're doing the same thing and yada yada. I just love how Inji handles it because I feel like most people would tell Gong Yoo's character right away, but she doesn't. Why do you think she doesn't tell him?
I think, like she said in the drama, like she didn't know how to. And I really think that was why. Like, how do you tell somebody who knows? And I'm sort of speaking from personal experience on this. Is like you tell somebody who you have been married to, who you have built this life with, you think you're gonna end up together forever, and you tell them the darkest secrets and the things that, like, the lines they cannot cross in their relationship. Like, everybody has boundaries. Everybody has that line that if they cross it, it's done. And the cameras was Gong Yoo's line. He told her this and became vulnerable and was like, this is my trauma. This is what happened to me in this house. And she used that against him. And she used that for her extremely selfish ways of controlling him because she realized she was losing that control. And that, like, I don't know how you tell somebody that, like, how you reveal that this line that you had, this boundary that you had, and trusted that boundary to somebody else who you thought was going to be your forever partner. I found out they crossed that boundary, and they basically crossed the line that was your line you don't cross. I would find that, I mean, for me, I don't know. It would be very difficult for me to tell somebody that, but at the same time, if I was that person and it's so like invasive and so voyeuristic, and I had no idea that was happening, and then the person who's living with me knows, I actually was expecting Gong Yoo to hate her after finding that out. Which what was this? Yeah, Inji. And I was surprised by his reaction because he knew she knew eventually. So I could kind of understand, I could definitely understand why she did not know how to tell him. Because how do you tell somebody that? But on the other hand, it's like, if I was Gong Yoo, I would want to know. That's right. Just like,
it's really complicated.
It's
really
so complicated. And
I do think what helps is that footage that he saw of Inji crying at the table.
Yeah.
That, I think, did wonders for his softened reaction toward Inji, if there was ever going to be a blowout reaction toward her. Because you could see that she is devastated for him.
Right.
And saddened by the situation and doesn't know what to do, how to handle it, how to tell him. So her crying there and sobbing at the kitchen table, I think, was the perfect thing for him to see.
Right.
When he saw the cameras. Yeah, that was horrible. That was horrendous. And my question was, did Gong Yoo tell that to his ex-wife as well about the camera situation? Because he definitely said that to Inji.
Oh, she definitely knew. You
think she definitely knew?
She definitely knew about his whole thing with that camera stuff. Yeah. Because Inji was like, how could you do that to him? She knew. She knew, though, they were there. She knew that whole story and that whole background. Definitely. And she stabbed him in the heart with it.
Did it anyway. Betrayed him.
Yeah. For her own, like, she just could not fathom the idea that she would have to live apart from him for a year and not be able to control him
and not know what was going on in that house.
And not know what was going on in that house. Yeah. Especially because she knew, they both recognized her from that graduation scene. They both did. And they both knew. Like, she specifically chose her for that reason. She was trying to control even them together.
So let's switch gears to the mystery thriller aspect and the police procedural that was at the front and end of every episode. There was a mystery of, like, who got killed. Was it Inji? Was it this person? Was it the stalker? Who got murdered? Halfway through the show, they tell you it's the stalker, and then you're like, okay, so I'm not upset. Like, I don't even care who did it. I thought that was another blight on the show. I did not give a shit about the police procedural. It was very When the Camellia Blooms to me. Caitlin's laughing. So, did you guys have thoughts about it?
I was just going to say, I didn't care for it. I didn't think it added anything to the show, but also I think the constant switch back and forth was a bit jarring at times. And it wasn't obvious that what timeline you were following.
I would agree.
So I think that made it very confusing. They could have done it, I don't know, gradiated, like with a different colored, I don't know. They could have done something.
Yeah, they could have changed the cinematography or the color grading in it so that you knew for sure what you were looking at.
Yeah, exactly. So for the first couple of episodes, you're kind of like, what is happening? And then you kind of have to figure out that everything that is cop related is in the future and everything else is in the past. But I just felt like that was jarring and I didn't think it was needed. I don't think the stalker storyline was needed at all. There was plenty for the show to like sink their teeth into without having all of that. And again, I couldn't care less that the stalker died. I didn't think, I thought it was a bit ridiculous having the ex-wife's current husband kill him. I was like, what is he, like, what? I don't know. This doesn't feel Like, why? Why is he even doing that? I didn't quite, for me personally, I didn't think his reasons were strong enough to warrant that response in a way. Because from what I gather, he didn't want him to release the documents because that would bring the company down, and he didn't want his fake marriage to end or something along those lines. That's kind of like what I gathered.
It was also revenge. It was revenge. Because he was a keeper. He was a security guard before he became a husband. So he killed his colleague, his coworker was killed in front of him in the lobby. So he killed the serial killer, the stalker guy, to get revenge for his coworker.
Yeah, that husband, that fine husband, had trauma of his own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you're wrong, Liliana. I think that also was an aspect is he didn't want the marriage to end. So getting rid of the stalker would preemptively maybe not end Gong Yoo's marriage as well as his own marriage. So I think you aren't wrong in your reasoning too, but I actually was surprised by that. I wasn't expecting him to be the person who did it at all. So because it was so unpredictable, because he never really crossed my mind, I didn't expect him to be a security guard or a keeper of the company. I always assumed he was just the husband, whatever. So that was surprising. But then the other thing that, and this was like my own imagination, which I wish they kind of did, but they didn't. When she goes into the field to get this trunk, right? And to open this trunk, and she realized she couldn't open it because it's the wrong trunk.
Yeah.
This was before they revealed what was actually in the trunk.
Right.
I immediately was like, okay, who in the house also works for this company? Who also is a contract wife for her husband? I was like, is Gong Yoo also a contract husband? Like, what is going on? Or was the ex-wife also a contract wife? What is going on? Of course, that didn't happen, but that was where my mind went when the second trunk was revealed. Because, like, what are the odds that the same trunk exists twice in the house? Granted, she found it when she was first unpacking in episode 1, but still.
It's
so
because she made it. The ex-wife made it so. Because the ex-wife... So there's a flashback that Inji is buying that specific trunk, and Gong Yoo and the ex-wife are in the shop, and she says, I want that trunk as well. So she made it that way.
Because she's crazy. She's
right. I forgot about that scene. Yeah.
Yeah. What did you guys think of what was inside the trunk? That was the other bit of this mystery, was what could possibly be inside this trunk. We find out that it's baby clothes and baby paraphernalia from the child that they lost, for what the Gong Yoo and his ex-wife lost. What did you guys think of that being the, I guess, that twist or whatever?
So, like, the wife cried over it, which I don't think she was mourning the kid. Like, I really do not think she wanted this baby, and I don't think she had any connection to it. I think the crying when she actually did open it was basically her, I don't know if it's mourning the marriage, but like sort of accepting the fact that she's never going to have Gong Yoo. Like, she's never going to
that's a different
be with Gong Yoo. Just because, like, if she was crying over the baby, that would not make sense to me. Because, like, her whole character of this drama up to that point gave no inkling that she cared for having this baby at all and didn't want to get pregnant and didn't want this child at all. So to her, all of a sudden, cry over baby clothes and mourn this child.
Who put the baby clothes in there?
Would not make sense to me.
Who bought the baby clothes?
I want to say it was Gong Yoo. Like, I want to say it was either them two together or...
See?
I think it was her.
Yeah.
Because it's
so
her
you think it was Gong Yoo, and Liliana thinks it's
or like
her.
them together. I didn't really say, because I didn't think it was her, no.
But the thing is, Gong Yoo would have wanted, I think from my read of his character, he would have wanted no reminders of that baby. I don't think he would have wanted anything around. Whereas for her, And even if he had stored, why would he have stored it inside her trunk? It doesn't necessarily make sense. So to me, what makes more sense is that she stored those clothes away and she put them in her own trunk. Like, she's supposedly the only one with the combination to open that thing up. So she would have put them away, I think.
It's her.
So
I agree with Liliana.
I think that deep down, she doesn't necessarily want the baby. I'm not saying she wants the baby. I'm thinking she might be mourning the life she should have had. Even if that baby had come, I don't know. There might be a little inkling in her towards that baby. I don't know. But I think there is some emotion there from her.
Yeah,
For
I
that
think so too.
specific
Why was she
baby.
crying after she was having the miscarriage before she jumped in front of the car in the street? I think there's a contradictory aspect to her that is hard to pin down. And I think that it has to do with her deepest desire, which is maybe she did want the baby secretly.
See, I didn't even see her crying during the miscarriage. I didn't see her crying for the kid. I saw her crying for the fact that Gong Yoo would blame her if she had the miscarriage because he was so happy of having this child.
I don't think we're wrong. I don't think any of us are wrong.
Right.
I think it's a confluence of things. And the surprise of seeing the baby clothes in her trunk, which is only she has the combination for, she bought it. It really is symbolic, right? It's a metaphor for, we all have trunks, right? That only we have the combinations for. And we lug it around from place to place and nobody knows what's inside. And for her, it was this deep, deep desire, maybe connection to wanting the baby or wanting to try it out, be a mom. Something that maybe is just contradictory to her nature, right?
Yeah. I think two things can be true at the same time. I think she can feel like she wants the baby and she can also feel like she doesn't want the baby. I think those two things can coexist at the same time. One does not invalidate the other, and I think her
Can hate the baby because of how it changed her relationship to Gong Yoo.
Exactly. Yeah. And even hate herself because deep down she may want this baby. So, and it may go against everything that she is as a character. So I think, like I said, I just think two things can be true at the same time. So I think she might not want the baby, and in her mind thinking, I've never wanted a kid, I don't want it, but then deep down
the idea of the
wanting
baby.
it. Yeah, the idea of the baby, and then hating herself for wanting that baby. So yeah.
Yep. I think we've come to the same conclusion, Liliana. And then for Inji, you know, at the end of the show, she like gets rid of the trunk. She sells the trunk. It's empty. And that's also a pretty powerful message as well, where she's like, I have no secrets. There's nothing to hide. I'm not going to carry around this baggage anymore. This
She's
emotional.
letting go.
Yeah, she's letting go. So I found that really great. The ending, do you want to run through the ending really fast?
I really liked the scene of her going to his house for the final time and he's selling the house and he just picks up a mallet and goes to town. And it's like he is literally breaking walls figuratively and, you know, directly breaking walls. And I really liked that imagery and the fact that he's breaking the walls that have kept him shackled to this house and, you know, breaking away from them. So I loved that last little scene. And normally I hate the whole separation in the last episode type of situation.
Oh, they
This
needed
is
it.
one of the exactly. This is one of the very, very, very few places where I'm like, this is exactly what they needed, because together they started the journey, but they need to work on themselves by themselves. They need to work on that trauma and be happy with themselves as people to then be able to give themselves to a relationship. And they need to walk away from the fact that they're almost like trauma bonded because they kind of like dumped all of their trauma on each other for a little bit. So I really liked the ending. I liked the fact that they walked away and with no plan. They just said, if we meet again, if we meet 3 times
they left it
again-
in a serendipitous place, which is I think where
Exactly, if
people
it's
were
meant
like,
to
but that's
be.
K-drama.
See, I think
that's
it
Western
worked
as
for
well.
them.
That's very
It
Western
is.
as well. Sorry.
It is.
Have you seen
It
a
is.
rom-com in the West?
And I think it works really well for them as characters. I really like that montage of them, just him cooking for himself, them getting pets for each other. Like,
Yeah.
each
But they're
of them
still
getting
like
a
their
pet
own
each.
person.
Exactly.
Because she likes dogs, he likes cats,
likes
and they have some
cats, yeah.
commonalities. They both dislike tomatoes in their cheeseburgers. And, you know, it's very realistic, you know?
Mhm.
These are some things that real grown-ups have to contend with as they grow and change. It's like, yeah, I kind of figure that, like, I don't really like dogs. I like cats. Cats are chill. And Gong Yoo, I think, is a cat guy as well in real life. So it's that it sort of tracks her as well, like her just finding her own way and getting out of that funk.
And just getting out of that house because she had not lived in
Mhm.
her own home for a very, very long time. She either lived at the house that was meant to be her married house or at, fake husbands' houses. So for her to have her own space and live in her own space, I was really happy with like the ending overall.
Yeah.
I really liked like them getting distance and perspective and
Yeah.
kind of leaving it up to chance. If they meet, and it's an open ending. But
Mhm.
I think that's reminiscent of life itself because what is life but an open ending? So,
Yeah,
I
I liked it. I thought it was really cute and romantic. Gong Yoo's smile at the end.
mhm.
I wanted to read something from a follower who really, really liked the show. And they said this: I loved that it felt like Pulp Fiction. Everything was connected, but not in the way I thought. I loved that Gong Yoo was able to find love and realize the abuse his ex was doing, that he wanted to love again. Female lead is amazing. Loved her and why her. And she played understated bitch with class and ease. I agree. I loved that the people I thought were horrible were, and that everyone had their own misery to contend with. I love how Gong Yoo's character just came out and said it. I want to sleep with you. You should know that. Then when he said, I think I could be someone who can't live without you, he was just so raw and honest with it. And I love that so much. I just thought I'd read verbatim what they messaged me. I agree completely. I thought it was a raw and honest take at very flawed individuals. It was a noir. And for those who don't know what a noir is, it's a style of filmmaking known for its dark and cynical, pessimistic themes. And that's what this show is. The K-drama in it is that it ends on a bit of a positive note.
It does.
It ends on like an uptick. That's the K-drama in it. That's the romance in it. I thought it was really thought-provoking, probing, and I don't think it's for everybody, unfortunately. Do you guys have any last words?
One thing I noticed watching this was the red and blue comparison, which is obviously from The Matrix. Like red pill, blue pill. And that was a constant theme through this entire, up until the last scene, because Gong Yoo was wearing red pants and she was wearing blue pants. So was
Oh
he
my
going to
God.
take was she going to take the blue pill again and go back into the illusion of them getting married?
I forgot to say that this show had some Goblin tie-ins.
Yep.
Like they go to the movie theater and watch a scary movie, and Gong Yoo's character is a scaredy cat. That's the same as Goblin. There's a scene just like that in Goblin, just a little more played for comedic effect. And then she, the female lead, wears a bright red scarf, just like the female lead in Goblin. And I don't think that's a coincidence. None of that to me is a
I
coincidence.
don't think that was a coincidence either. Yeah.
It reminded me when you said the blue pill and red pill.
Yeah, so like if people don't know what that whole Matrix thing is, basically it's the famous scene where Morpheus hands out the red or blue pill and Neo has to make a decision on what he's going to take. And like the blue pill is he's going to continue in the Matrix and live out the life that he had been living. And then the red pill knocks him into reality and takes him out of the illusion. So that's essentially what it's doing, like with the colors in this drama. A common blue, we see the horrible ex-wife wearing a blue necklace the entire show.
Mm-hmm.
He's taking blue medication, Gong Yoo's character. Most of the clothing he's wearing when it comes to being in that house is a shade of blue or black or like that color scheme. And then you have her walk in and she's wearing red or shades of red a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a scene where the ex-wife, once he finds out what he did and she tries to go and smooth it over, he took out red juice from the fridge and was drinking it while she was trying to give him her case and everything like that.
On.
So like it was interesting. And they even like explained the Matrix lingo with these two colors in the show, like in the drama. So once they said that, I was like, oh, okay, I should probably watch out for these two colors in the entire drama, which is why I noticed so much. But I loved how it worked even to the last episode or last scene in the last episode. Because like you should have seen me. I like watched the last scene. I'm like, oh my God. Because it was like, is he gonna walk away from this relationship and continue down the red pill path that he had been living for however many months it had been since they last saw each other? Or is he gonna start over with this new relationship and enter this blue illusion with her again? So I loved that messaging so much.
Me too.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we've done it. We have traversed the entirety of the trunk. And if you guys have anything you guys would like to say to us about the trunk, we are more than happy to discuss it with you on the socials. Do you guys want to say where they can find you?
So for me, it's Tea and Soju Pod, all one word, on Instagram, TikTok, and all of those places.
I'm No Sleep, the number 4 dramas on Instagram, TikTok, blog, YouTube, wherever.
Yep, hit us up. You know where to find us. That's it. That's our show. I'm Jessica, and this has been the Daebak K-Rambles Podcast. Bye.